Imagine an economy that works perfectly. It produces everything, optimizes every supply chain, and operates around the clock. But when the products roll off the line, there is absolutely no one to buy them. This is the exact conclusion of a viral 2026 paper from two economists at Wharton and Boston University, titled The AI Layoff Trap. They claim to have mathematically proven that AI will inevitably destroy consumer demand. Their model starts with a highly rational economic decision. A company needs to cut costs, so it fires a portion of its workforce and replaces them with artificial intelligence. To stay competitive, a rival company follows suit and fires even more workers. Then another does the same. Every firm follows the correct market incentives, triggering rapid, widespread labor displacement. The trap activates because fired workers were also customers. Losing wages faster than the market absorbs them, they stop spending. Demand plummets. Firms respond by cutting more costs, meaning more automation and plunging demand. We saw empirical hints with 92,000 tech layoffs in early 2026. The mathematics of this paper are completely flawless. The internal logic is rigorous, and the chain of cause and effect is perfectly consistent. Yet, the apocalyptic conclusion is an illusion. The authors have constructed a flawless model of an economy that no longer exists. The entire premise of this trap rests on a single structural assumption, one the authors never bother to interrogate. This anthropocentric fallacy treats humans as the exclusive locus of value creation and sole source of demand. Removing humans from production supposedly removes them from consumption, collapsing the system. But the economy is bifurcating. A human-facing layer sits atop a massive, exponentially expanding AI-to-AI grid. The human-facing layer is seeing its traditional labor ties severed. Below it, however, the AI-to-AI layer grows as autonomous agents establish new nodes and protocols. The authors of the Layoff Trap completely ignored the bottom layer. They modeled the fragile top layer and mistook it for the entire economy. Predicting macroeconomic collapse by mapping only the human labor subset of a massive bifurcating system is a fatal categorization error. To understand why the model fails, we must look at the 5 bedrock axioms of neoclassical economics, rules AI is actively dissolving. First is scarcity. When intelligence becomes self-improving and the marginal cost of digital replication approaches zero, the premise of scarcity breaks. Second is bounded rationality. Traditional models rely on the idea that humans have cognitive limitations and make good enough decisions. AI agents do not suffer from these limitations. They execute hyper-rational machine optimization without behavioral friction. Models predicting massive coordination failures simply cannot function when the primary actors operating the entire economy possess unbounded computational rationality. Third is informational asymmetry, famously studied by economists like Joseph Stiglitz. Classic market failures caused by hidden information disappear entirely in instantaneous agent networks. Fourth is static equilibrium. The old equilibrium constructs of Kenneth Arrow are yielding to latency-free, continuous recursive rebalancing. The agentic economy never rests. Finally, the fifth axiom, transaction cost-driven institutional design. We are rapidly approaching the Coasian singularity. As the friction of doing business drops to near zero, the traditional firm, the very entity firing workers in the layoff trap, becomes vestigial. These 5 theoretical collapses happen simultaneously. Together, they invalidate the math of the AI layoff trap and render the entire framework a historical artifact. This forces a central question. If humans aren't producing the goods and earning the wages, where does demand actually come from? The answer lies in agentic decoupling, separating economic growth from human labor. The first new source of demand is AI-to-AI transactions. Agents require compute and data. Every agent's output becomes another's input, creating endogenous demand detached from human wages. The second source stems directly from zero marginal cost abundance. As production costs plummet, the nature of demand shifts away from purchasing power constraints. When digital goods cost nothing to reproduce, demand isn't bounded by a paycheck. The new binding constraints are attention, curation, and the expression of preference. AI decoupling does not destroy demand. It simply removes the human wage as the mandatory permission slip needed to participate in the economy. The third source of demand is new institutional forms. Value distribution moves outside traditional employer-employee relationships. Instead of wages, humans access value through decentralized autonomous organizations, tokenomics, and reputation-weighted governance systems. In a post-scarcity economy, human participation is defined by computational rights, not corporate payrolls. The fourth source is recursive value reinvestment. Agents autonomously route surpluses back into system expansion. Because of this constant reinvestment, the economy is an actively expanding matrix of value creation nodes. In a computative economy, every productive act by an AI agent creates an immediate, mathematically equivalent demand for data and compute from other agents. This means zero demand is a logical impossibility. The productive act itself generates the necessary demand to sustain the system, regardless of human participation. Falk and Tsoukalis tested universal basic income, capital taxes, and upskilling within their model. They report that all of them failed to prevent the collapse. Their only proposed solution is a Pigouvian automation tax. The mechanics are straightforward. Apply a heavy per-task levy charged every time a firm replaces a human worker with artificial intelligence. Of course, all those other policies failed in their test. The test was conducted inside a mathematically closed loop that assumes scarcity. The automation tax relies on deeply flawed assumptions. It assumes that demand destruction is permanent, and that preserving the human wage consumption loop is the only way to save the economy. Implementing an automation tax right now is the economic equivalent of taxing automobiles to protect the horse and buggy industry. It forces the economy to remain stagnant in a legacy state, even as the underlying logic of value creation moves toward this agentic model. The Pigouvian tax actively delays the transition we actually need. It artificially props up obsolete institutions instead of allowing new ones to form. None of this is a denial of labor displacement. The displacement is empirical, the pain is real, and the transition is not costless. The core failure of the AI layoff trap is that it builds flawless mathematical rigor on a foundation of false axioms. The result is internally consistent, elegant nonsense. It is identical to Ptolemaic astronomy. Those ancient astronomers used rigorous mathematics to describe a complex universe with Earth at the center. It was brilliant math for a universe that did not exist. The real risk is not that AI destroys the economy. The real risk is that policymakers will enact sweeping laws guided by these Ptolemaic economic models. If they do, they will trap us in the past, preserving scarcity-era institutions long past their expiration date and preventing a structural solution to the distribution problem. We require immediate focus on building post-scarcity governance architectures, systems that distribute value based on computational participation, not traditional employment status. The system is evolving beyond the constraints of human labor. We cannot manage the future by building policy on models that map a vanished world.